Bash here coming at you today, Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. I am super excited today because I have the #1 arena god in the world live with us today. It is Kruysen. Kruysen, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, Ash? Thanks for having me here. Everything's good, even more now. We have the opportunity of working together.
Hell yeah, man. I'm pumped. I'm pumped because I faced you. Oh God, dude, this is almost embarrassing, but at the same time, it's not because you're so good in the council stack too.
I'm nervous, Max. I'll admit it.
But like you know the meta of Raid Shadow Legends better than anybody that I've spoken to. You have a YouTube channel. Every racer should subscribe. Excuse me, to Kruysen. That will be linked for you guys in the show notes below. So I'm gonna pick your brain, not just on my account, because yeah, I want to ask you about like my mythicals and how I should change my builds. I want to have you pick apart my builds and tell me everything I'm doing wrong. But I also want to give a lot of like general strategy advice to folks out there who don't have like all the end game champions, and also what's trending right now. What's the best way to build popular champions, and what's the best champions to put in popular gear sets as well. But before I say all of that, man, tell us a little bit about yourself. Right now, you're #1 in the world, Doc Moreau, with over 10,000 live arena battles, 29,000 almost points. Intro, and before your intro, do you think that they should make seasons, or like
Absolutely.
the fact that you have 29,000 points, like what the heck?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
We are currently #1. Doc, I'm not the owner of the account, I'm the driver, but I've been the driver for the past 4 years and something like this, doing every content on the account, Hydra, CVC, Arena, Classic Arena, resets, everything. I'm doing it.
And you actually know him, like you guys met years ago. He's one of the #1 Brazilian accounts and players, and you kind of befriended each other, and now your account is up there too, right?
Yeah. I was his clan leader back when we were on Brazilian community only.
Okay.
And we met up there in the clan, and I was like, okay, this guy has the potential. I got the knowledge. Let's make a partnership and see what we get.
I like where your head is at, man. I like where your head is at. So, okay, so you've been playing this account for 4 years now. You've seen obviously the entire evolution of raid PvP, right?
Yeah.
Where, this is a broad question, but I want to ask it anyway, is like, what's the #1 thing that people don't realize about what it takes to be #1 in the game?
I can answer that for money.
Like everybody knows you need a stacked account, spend a lot of money. The next thing after that, what is it, what people don't recognize, what it takes to excel?
First of all, when you play a lot of arena, you start to have the knowledge about the interaction between the champions, the builds, the potential, how the meta is building their champions. For example, if you saw Rotos 4 years ago, it was probably built in Relentless. Nowadays, if you saw Rotos having an extra turn, you know he's not in Relentless. Probably he's on 9-piece merciless. And the damage potential between these two builds are extremely distinct. So knowing everything you can know playing the arena makes you have a lot more win potential, because you're gonna know the interactions, the meta, the builds, what are people doing. You know, 4 years ago, you could just speed boost and you're gonna get your turn. Now, if you speed boost, there are blessings, there are sets, many things that interfere on this turn meter itself. So you can be 100 speed faster and maybe not having the turn fast than your opponent.
So a lot has definitely changed. That's really cool to hear it all. And you're absolutely right. So where do things stand right now in the meta? I want to start with, as I get smoked here by an old school team on auto, I want to start by asking you about Pinpoint, right? Like everybody's talking about how good Pinpoint is, and it looks like I might have a miraculous comeback here. I have 1 HP on Pythion over there. Sorry, I just wanted this as background, but it ended up being a funny little battle there. But what about Pinpoint, man? How good is Pinpoint right now? Where are you using it? But most importantly, who are you using it on? Like which type of champions are you pinpointing?
Basically everybody.
Okay.
Pinpoint. If I could say one thing, stop farming anything and farm Pinpoint, because we don't know when it's going to come back. If you could swap half of your amulets, rings, and banners for Pinpoint versions of it, you're just going to get more efficient status out of it. You're gonna have more speed, more accuracy, more everything out of the same piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
For example, for an amulet with a double roll on accuracy on pinpoint and an amulet, normal one with a triple roll, it's better have a pinpoint. So you can swap all your jewelries, amulets, rings, and bandits for
everything.
pinpoint. Yeah, and you're gonna be benefit from that. So farm it, and the complete set, 4 pieces, 6 pieces, 9 pieces, are very useful, not only on arena, but it will make it easier to reach status for dungeons and PvE content. And that's very important, even for lower level accounts, beginners, everything, everybody, everywhere.
Absolutely. Okay, so use it on everybody. Gotcha. Hear ya. What about Intercept? What about going beyond the 3-piece, beyond the 2-piece? Who is best to put the 4-piece in above to take advantage of Intercept?
No doubt the debuffers. Everything that brings a debuff that could be affected by polymorph would take advantage as a pinpoint user with 4 pieces or more to get at least 1 buff of Intercept. Because you're gonna, for example, Taurus is a nuker.
Yep.
His first goal is to do damage. But if he starts the match and he puts a fear on someone and get polymorphed, he won't do nothing. So even on a nuker now, you can use
anybody.
pinpoint.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and take advantage of it. You know, not getting CC'd is very important on this game because you're gonna do your action. Even if it's not the perfect action, you at least are going to do it. And if you're CC'd, you're not going to make an action. You're not going to make a movement. And it's better do something than do nothing.
Then lose your turn. So what about, talk to me about Stone Skin and Pinpoint, right? Who are you doubling down on? Is it important to double down? Talk to me about using both those combos.
Yeah. Stone Skin and Pinpoint are one of the best compositions for most of the debuffers in the game, but it's something hard to achieve for most of the players because it's hard to farm Stone Skin. Now they are in the game for some period of time, so you might have a lot of Stone Skin pieces, but to have the good pieces on the right place for Pinpoint and Stone Skin is very hard. Even on Dog's account, I think I only got 3 champions with Stone Skin and Pinpoint.
Okay.
Yet.
I have one. But you know what his name is? Armanz. so it's all good.
Yeah. Champions like Armanz, Kruysen, Galatir, any other debuff, Raman too.
I run into a lot of this guy too.
Comidus.
Yeah.
Comidus is the meta.
He is the meta right now, right?
The meta right now. Even Madame Saris.
Yes.
If you can put her on Stone Skin and Pinpoint, she will be back as a useful champion. That she wasn't for the last 2 years. For the past 2 years, she was forgotten, and she was once considered the best champion in the game. And we suddenly forgot about her because she was polymorphed all the time, or she could not
Poor Madame Saris.
Yeah.
She was every team. Arbiter Madame Saris. That was the handoff, you know? It was a speed race.
Now with Pinpoint, you can bring her back to your teams.
Yeah.
And make usage of her.
Yeah. Okay, so when should we, let's just say you can only choose one. Pinpoint or Stone Skin. Who are you going to go on a 4-piece? What are you going to... Just so debuffers, Pinpoint, Stone Skin, everybody else.
Yeah. If it is a fast champion, that champion that you're going to use very fast, I would go for Pinpoint over Stone Skin.
Okay.
If it is a champion that I'm going to use a slower version of it, I would go for Stone Skin.
Okay.
Because you want to play.
Any other trends right now, gearing wise? We know about like Stone Skin and Lethal for nukers, like as something to work towards. Talk to me about all the other sets, I guess, in the game, like the 9-piece sets, I should say, right? All of the new-ish or you know, maybe not new, but all the sets that we can use are accessories essentially to get extra effect.
Yeah, Pharaoh set.
What is the meta right now?
Pharaoh set is one of them.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Pharaoh set.
Where was your mind at?
Feral, yes. Let's talk about Feral.
Pharaoh
go ahead.
Yeah, Pharaoh is a very new set to the game, almost as new as Pinpoint, and very hard to get.
Yes.
Because you only get it if you win in Siege. So it's very hard to get it, but he can add so much status to you, besides speed and accuracy. That is very, very good. For Hydra, if you have 9 pieces, is one of the best sets on the game
Yeah.
to improve your damage overall. For Arena, Pinpoint is slightly better, but you might not have the Pinpoint right pieces, but you might have the Pharaoh, and it's gonna be a slightly better version than what you could do using normal gear, no special gear. For example, 2 accessories of Pharaoh is gonna give you speed and accuracy, like if you had almost as if you had a perception set.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very important to have this kind of extra status, because it's the difference of getting the speed race to be faster, to be allowed to remove your opponent buffs or debuff them is very important. This little amount of status that two special pieces can give makes total difference.
Yeah, even at 1 Pharaoh ring to get 40 accuracy, it's insane. It's insane, the value there. What about the other, do you still see a lot of reaction right now in the meta? Talk about reactions place in the meta right now.
Yeah, on Live Arena, it dropped a lot, the amount of reaction you see, because if you're using 4 Pinpoint and 4 Stone Skin, 4 Stone Skin, 4 Lethal, you only gonna get 1 missing spot to use reaction, so it's 25%. And it's hard to have the last piece as a reaction always. So the amount of times that you're gonna see a reaction is lower compared to what was, but still relevant, because a reaction proc can change entirely the result of a battle. Just 1 proc of reaction can change everything. The outcome of the battle will be totally different. So if you have the opportunity to use reaction without losing much, use it, because you might win because of it. And there are other important sets that might be useful and you're not gonna see as much. For example, nine protection pieces on champions that put buffs in your team, like
so
Lydia.
Siphi, Lydia.
Siphi, Duchess, and champions like that. Even our boss on 9 protections is a very interesting build, because the buffs that you're gonna put on your team not being removed is very relevant right now. Very relevant. As soon as Pinpoint become a team, people will try to debuff you a lot more than they were trying to do without Pinpoint. So having your buffs protected, it's a counter to the meta right now. So the meta is Pinpoint. But if people wants to remove you and you are irremovable, you are protected, you have the counter. So 9 pieces of protection because of Pinpoint are now a very good thing to have.
I love that. I love thinking 1 step ahead of the game, or that ahead of the meta. So that's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. What about Supersonic, man? Are you seeing Supersonic used a lot in PvP, or is it still kind of like a, on the same level of a 9-piece protection where it's used, but not like super a ton? But actually, I see a protection a lot. But Supersonic, what do you feel?
For example, my Warlord was, without being used for the last 5 months, I think. I didn't use him on a single battle. Suddenly, I got a 2 Supersonic triple rolls on speed. I put 4 pieces of Supersonic on Warlord, and now I'm using him every battle that I can on my own account. Because now I can have a team that is lower than my opponent. He plays first, but I play second. And I cut between his speed booster and his nukers because of Supersonic. And that's when you put Supersonic in a locker like Kruysen or Warlord or Yumeko.
Yeah.
That's a huge advantage for you to cut between the speed booster and the nuker. Makes you win the battle.
I love that. Really, really good point. Because right now we were talking about this off air, but like when we look at my account, which we are going to, one of the first things you said, I think the first thing you said is like you're too slow. Like basically my gear, my champions very pay to win. My gear maybe still pay to win, maybe, but lagging. Lacking. So I have to think of ways, to your point, to win if I'm not going to beat my opponent in speed. And I'm sure that's the point that 99% of raid players are eventually going to get to, right? Because only one player, I guess you, is going to be the fastest. Are you the fastest account in the game right now?
Not even the top 10.
Okay.
Not even in the top 10.
Can you share your speed or at least around what it is, or no? You don't have to.
Our fastest champion on Dark Roy is 100. If I put all the fastest gear in a single champion, it will be 100, around 475, 76.
And you're not top 10.
I'm not even top 10.
And I'm at 420-ish, 422, I think. So yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so thinking of ways like Supersonic 4-piece. So if I was going to build like a Krixia or Yumeko, it doesn't matter, a Lockout, Warlord, would you go 4-piece Supersonic, 4-piece?
4 pieces of Supersonic. If it is Krixia, the perfect version could be a very fast Krixia, 4 pieces of Supersonic, 4 pieces of Pinpoint. But if you don't get it, 4 pieces of Supersonic, 4 pieces of Stone Skin, 4 pieces of Supersonic, 4 pieces of Speed.
Okay.
All that matters. 4 pieces of Supersonic, 4 pieces of Perception, 4 pieces of Feral, 4 pieces of Supersonic, but have Supersonic in it.
And it seems like everything that you say, for the most part, with some exceptions, Speed, Perception, and stuff like that, I'm sure is still used a lot. But you're trying to get those 2 4 pieces is huge.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. I want to ask you briefly. We talked a lot about sets. Is there anything else that you should mention about sets that I didn't ask you about? You know,
sometimes when you're in the beginning of the game, you should prioritize status over sets. For the beginning of the game, this is very important. Focus on the status, forget about the sets. For the end the game is the other side.
Okay.
Forget a little bit about status, unless it's something very extreme, and focus more on the sets. You're gonna lose some status to put Stone Skin? Yes, you're gonna lose. But it's better to have Stone Skin and Savage than have only Savage, and you die before you play. Some things like that. Sometimes you lose a lot of status to do it. But do it. You don't have the perfect ring, the perfect amulet, the perfect banner. But try to build it. If you can put your Nukers on Lethal and Stone Skin, Savage and Stone Skin, it's way better by kilometers than the version with only Savage or only Lethal.
I love that. So sacrifice set in preference of stats in the early, in the mid game, because you can outspeed 99% of your opponents anyway when you're farming the arena, trying to work on your Great Hall. And then as you approach the late mid end game, start prioritizing sets, even if it means sacrificing stats. Got you. Okay, perfect. I love it. I want to talk about some popular champions and the current meta builds for those popular champions. But before that, I do want to ask us where you see the meta on blessings is right now. So polymorph, it used to be like anybody 6-star, you're polymorph, no questions asked for the most part, right? How has that shifted with Pinpoint?
Right now, we are living the era of speed again.
We're reliving the era of speed. Okay.
Yeah. The third or the fourth era of speed.
Yeah, right.
Since the game were launched. And right now, speed is probably the most relevant status in the game. So, with Pinpoint and losing the speed battle...
I'm on the edge of... Okay, we lost you for a second. I think we got you back. Go ahead.
Yeah, polymorph might save you or might not. So, right now, some champions... you might sacrifice the polymorph security to get some extra status, like intimidate presence from the light. You might have that at least on the fastest champion you got, or champions with speed aura. Sacrificing the polymorph in it to have this is very important right now, because it might give you the lead on speed, and that makes the difference on the battle. Sometimes Life Harvest, when you got a team that you know that you're gonna lose the speed battle, your opponents have a lot of pinpoints, they are not going to get polymorphed, so you're gonna try to survive the most, and maybe the battle is long, you kill your enemies, it will give some a turn meat boost that is really important and might save your battle. Okay,
so polymorph, I would say, is it fair to say that it's still very popular, but it's not dominating like it once did?
Yeah, it's by far the best blessing. It's polymorph. No other can be as good as her. But right now, some might shine that weren't shine as much as they are right now.
So you mentioned Life Harvest, and this is pretty intuitive, right? Anytime anybody's revived, it's going to fill your turn meter on the enemy team. and reduce there. How strong is the destroy enemy max HP? Is it kind of like a nice to have, but it's all about the fill, or is that very important in the value?
Really, really, really strong. For example, you're facing a Wukong and UDK combo, one of the strongest combos in the game, and a free-to-play combo. Very important for anyone that wants to play Arena is have a UDK and a Wukong, because these two champions are not a couple, but they are a couple. You know?
Yep.
Their mechanics together are very, very, very strong and very hard to beat. So if you're facing Wukong and UDK, the Wukong is gonna revive 1,000 times. And sometimes you don't have the damage to kill him with one hit. But if you have Life Harvest, his HP is gonna be slower
every time.
less. And a single support nuker can kill him in the end and makes it easier to control it.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's how Life Harvest works. And there are some master, because we are talking about 6-star polymorph. If you're not using a champion that uses a curse, you might not have her 6-star. So if it is a champion that does not use accuracy and you don't have the 6-star, do not go for polymorph because it's useless. Bring some utility to your team. Maybe the temporal chance, maybe the soul reaper, maybe the love harvest, intimidate presence. For example, Marius, a very popular champion right now, and one of the strongest champions of the entire game for every area, not only Arena. If you're not 6-star to put the polymorph on him, put soul reap 1 to 5-star. Best blessing for him if he's not 6-star. It makes total difference.
Okay. I wanted to follow up with nukers. Where are you going soul reap versus, let's just say you don't have a 6-star, because 6-star, I imagine you're going polymorph still, or maybe crushing rends. Like, what do you, if you do have 6-star, what are you going to go with? On like, let's just say Tara 6-star.
Yeah. If for blessings 6-star, usually I use polymorph even on nukers, but if I'm not going to use polymorph, if it is a nuker that can kill some champions with some difficulty because they only got one hit, for example, Georgid. To kill a Rotos, you need a double hit or more amount of hits. So I like very much to use Phantom Touch on Georgid, on the Inuit Blue Twin with Phantom Touch. It's incredible. Yeah,
because it still blocks revive even on the Phantom Touch.
It has a very good interaction with it. Another thing that I like very much on nukers, it's some Harima that you don't have the 6-star to use polymorph. Cruelty is something that combos very good with our A3. It's a triple hit that takes defense. Cruelty is going to take a lot more defense, and when you hit it, this champion again, you're gonna see the difference between the damage. It's very, very high. Very, very high.
That's cool. Go ahead. Yeah.
There are champions that have their unique build. For example, Rotos. Right there in the bottom, Ward of the Fallen. If you got a Rotos, doesn't matter how many stars, put this blessing. There is no blessing better than this for Rotos. This blessing makes him a lot more powerful than he already is. And it's totally different and game-changing. Put this blessing on Rotos. Because Rotos cannot be killed by a single hit. Only double hits or more. With this blessing, you need a triple hit or more. So
really good.
The amount of champions that can do triple hits are very low.
Okay, this is
totally
great.
Changing.
Yeah, I don't even want to interrupt you. I want you to keep going because this is good stuff. Like, some people might find like one of these tips like they already knew, but like knowing all of these unique builds, this is why I really was super excited to get you on the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. I want to ask about like other kind of more niche blessings too. I haven't heard anybody or seen anybody really using cracking roots. Do you think it's a trash blessing, or do you think there is some promise or utility here?
Since the damage of cracking roots only works on the Stone Skin Shield, not on the total life, only a few champions take advantage of it. Do not ever use cracking roots on Georgid, Mazomel, and champions that already ignore the Stone Skin, because it's going to make zero sense. If you're ignoring the Stone Skin, why would you want to do more damage on the Stone Skin that you don't touch? So do not use. These blessings is for champion with very high raw damage. For example, Torvald, Queen Eva, champions that have a very impactful skill with raw damage. You might use Cracking Root, but the total result is not that good. Most of the players, if they have very high defensive status, even with Cracking Root is not enough to break the Stone Skin and kill the champion. You might break the Stone Skin and do some damage, but you're not going to kill most of the champions.
Okay. Temporal chains. I see this kind of being used a little bit less than I think I did at one point. How do you feel about temporal chains? And if you do like it, would you maybe kind of parlay it with one of those supersonic 4-piece strategies?
Yeah. For example, if you're building a Kruysen on Supersonic, put temporal chains within it, because if a champion does not have Stone Skin and you're going to play in between the lines of your enemies, speed, turn meet, and boosting, and things like that, this blessing right now, because of the speed meta, it has more value now, because everything that you can cut between the line of the speed boosting and the Nukers playing, it's gonna give you a chance of winning. Even more if you're using Warlord Kruysen or Yumeko in the Supersonic strategy, using temporal chains makes a huge difference.
So to that end, what about a champion like Shuzen the Valorous or an Arbiter? I see those mostly intimidating presence, but sometimes temporal, especially on Shuzen. Where do you stand on when choosing between having an intimidating presence aura on your team and when you want to go first versus a temporal chains?
That's about trust. If you have a lot of trust on your speed, it's better to use Intimidate Presence, because it's going to give you more chances of being first and make your movement first and everything.
A lot of what? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the word. On what on your speed? A lot of what?
If you have trust, enough trust on your speed, if you trust your speed is enough,
okay,
go Intimidate Presence. If you have doubts about it,
okay,
if you just you were
like me, right? And trying to compete.
Yeah,
at the top, but I just know in my heart that I'm not, like, if you're at the top of wherever you are on ladder, right? Like if you're at the top of, like, okay, I'm pushing against accounts that are consistently better than mine, then maybe shift to temporal, it sounds like. Does that make sense?
For example, you were in the top of bronze and you climbed to silver. You were winning the speed battles against the bronze players that you were facing because you were fast, and you went to silver, and now you're not winning that much the speed battles. Try to change it to temporal chains, because you might cut between your opponents, and that might give you a win.
Okay.
Against stronger opponents.
Is there any blessing that I didn't ask you about that you're like, oh man, this is, you should have. You should. Yeah.
There is a blessing that is on light, Heaven Cast.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
It works a lot for champions that you have protected or a lot of buffs. For example, if you're using Shuzen to speed boost a champion and gives a lot of buffs to that champion, Heaven Cast on the Nuker can give you extra damage that is really, really good. It's not the craziest damage overall, but for example, if you have
what about like a Taurus?
If you have a Nuker protected by Necret and you have a Shuzen, and you're going to speed boost this champion, he's going to have 8 buffs.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. Then you're talking like 16, 20% potential damage boost, and it really starts to add up. Okay.
And that's make the difference. That's really make the difference.
All right. Awesome, man. I don't think I need to ask about masteries, because I don't think anything major has changed there, unless... No. Okay, let's get into some champions then. I want to start with the bastions of free-to-play, or... it feels like almost like it's a slight of these champions saying they're free to play, like a Sun Wukong, because he's so good. Now, before you judge my build, I don't use him in the arena.
That was smooth.
But that being said, he's a beast in the arena. So we have to kind of, like, I guess maybe as a precursor, do you recommend kind of make it, like, let's just say you've been playing Raid for a long time and you're sitting on, like, 15 meta champions, right? Do you pick and choose who to build, or do you have like a roster in your head that's kind of like rotating based on the meta? How do you go about constructing which champions on your account are you really going to start focusing on?
Yeah, first of all, there are the meta. The meta champions are very important because their performance are slightly better than the performance of the champions that are not in the meta. Second thing is your playstyle. That's make a huge difference, a huge difference, because every person has a playstyle, a way of building their champions, making their choices, and things like that. For example, I love to use Wukong. Even on Doc Maroy's account, that you have all the nukers in the game, all the supports in the game, all the debuffers in the game, I still use Wukong, one of my top 10 picks, because I love to play with him. On Doc Maroy's account, that we have every single nuker in the game plus 4/6 star.
I love that. Yeah.
I'm not using him as a nuker. I'm using him as a debuffer, because I love the combo of Armanz and Wukong at the same team.
It's so annoying.
To have your opponent as a shepherd is really funny.
Yeah. That's great. So talk to me about, obviously, would you recommend like mid-game players just build him like kind of a hybrid, right? And he's going to do great?
I would recommend to use him as full nuker.
Full nuker?
Because on my account, he's a full nuker.
Okay.
He's a full nuker. Because his damage potential can win any battle. Even me, when I'm facing people with almost no champions as good as compared to Doc Maroy's, sometimes the Wukong wins the battle for that person. Because sometimes even I do bad choices. Something goes wrong, I polymorph, something goes wrong, and the Wukong revives, and he has someone to target and kill my entire team. That happens to everyone.
He smacks. It's so refreshing. It's so refreshing to hear that A, you lose to some Wukong, and B, that you make mistakes. Because frankly, like, I feel like I guess the good thing is I feel like a lot of my mistakes. Who knows how many, but I feel like I catch a lot. But I'm sure we've all been there, but like, oh, why'd I do that? Why did I do that? Right? And like, this game gives you that almost instant satisfaction or dissatisfaction of like, it makes it obvious sometimes when you're like, I shouldn't have done that move 3 chess moves earlier, you know? But I digress. Oh, I should mention too, I said that we faced each other in the arena. I don't know how many times I faced you, but I do remember I won once, and it was like I won the Super Bowl or whatever here. I was like, I beat Doc Maroy. But you probably beat me like 30 times. Even a blind squirrel can get a nut, Kruysen, once in a while.
Sometimes I lose battles because of RNG. Sometimes I lose because I make mistakes. It happens. But sometimes the person I'm facing done something that I did not expect, or he has a strange build that I not expect. And that's make you lose battles.
That's a good point. That like even if you don't have the most stacked account in the world, maybe a little bit of unorthodox, maybe a little bit of not doing everything to the meta, even on one champion might be the difference for you. You know. So some Wukong, you built him as a nuker. You like him in like just quick take. Favorite build, nuker with a little focus on resist, a little bit extra.
If you could have a slightly amount of accuracy, it's worth.
I'm sorry, accuracy, not resist. My bad.
Yeah, but you should target attack and critical damage and speed over anything else.
And what gear sets do you put on him right?
The best,
lethal.
The best, no doubt, is 9 pieces of merciless.
Merciless, yeah.
The second best is 6 pieces of merciless. The third best is 4 pieces of Lethal or Savage and 4 pieces of Stone Skin. The fourth best is Lethal or Savage without Stone Skin. And the other builds are not as good as this.
Okay, that's perfect. I love it, man. I love it. Okay, let's talk about UDK, man. Ultimate Death Knight. So Ultimate Death Knight is probably still one of the most popular champions in the entire game for Classic Arena, for Live Arena. For Live Arena, I should say, I see him like less than Classic Arena, but I still see him, and maybe even a little bit more lately. What is your take on UDK right now in the meta, and how do you like to build them?
After Armanz, UDK lost some of his power because he can just be targeted as a
sheep.
Armanz sheep.
So I'd like to report an assault.
For my next
that's terrible for him. So you see him less now because of Armanz, but he's still crazy powerful, and he wins a lot of battle. The combo between Wukong and the UDK is one of the strongest things in the game. You might win against anyone, even Doc Marius, using this if the right moment happens to you.
Do you think once players get their hands on more feral, that a 4-piece feral with a 4-piece stone skin in a slow build, or maybe even using Pinpoint more, do you think
you know how I use my UDK on my account and on Doc Marius' account?
How?
He's a nuker.
Okay. So you just build them all out in nuke?
Yeah, 6 pieces of stone skin, as much power and damage I can, the slowest I can, and that's make a lot of people off guard.
Ooh, I like that.
When he can
I think I might do a whole video on that. You're giving me good video ideas, bro. I like that. So you're doing that basically because he has 2-turn stone skin anyway.
Yeah, he can smack. He's A1 and A2 do really good amount of damage.
Okay, so you build him in. You build him in 6-piece stone skin with as much nukage as possible.
Yeah, and if you can use counterattack accessories or use stone skin accessories and retaliation set, it's beautiful, bro.
Ooh, I'm gonna try that. Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, cool. UDK, what do you go for in blessing on him?
Usually polymorph, but I like to use, if not 6-star, I like to use life harvest.
Okay. Yeah, get that. Okay, cool. Because usually they're not going to be revived in the first, early stages of the match anyway. It's not like you're stripping away your stone skin. Makes sense. And then he can be more effective later on when they are reviving a lot. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's talk about Armanz. What is the most popular Armanz build? I used to have him just in triple perception, and then I changed to 4-piece stone skin and perception. And now, like I said, I did exactly what you said earlier, and I made a big sacrifice of stats in order to put him in the 4-piece pinpoint with the stone skin. What's your favorite Armanz build?
Armanz, no doubt, is the most popular first pick in the game. Oh, and it doesn't matter which kind of arena you are, to the bronze, to the top of the gold, he's the safest first pick in the entire game right now. That's how powerful he is. The best build for the beginners, the medium, and the beginning of the late game is to put him on stone skin and whatever you can. It only matters the stone skin and as fast and as much accuracy you can. At the high-end game, very, very fast Armanz starts to matter more than accuracy and stone skin, but that's only for the high-end.
Mm-hmm.
So until you reach top of gold 4, use him on stone skin, and whatever set you have more status or other efficiencies like pinpoint, perception, feral, anything that you can take advantage of status or effects of the set, but have the stone skin. As soon as you reach gold 4 and you have a lot of status, if possible, you're gonna try 6 pieces of speed or something as fast as you can, because winning the speed battle with him might save you and might win the battle. But no doubt, he's very important.
So for my build here, I have 326 speed. People can't see, but I have 538 accuracy. Both are low for like the people I'm facing, but the typical Armanz. But I guess I made the decision because I was sick of not going first with Armanz, and he's no good to me if he's dead, right? So now at least I have all the blockage I need to at least get a shot, with Armanz. Yeah. Do you think that's the right call, or did I sacrifice too much?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. You made the right call. If you're not winning the speed battle, what matters?
What does it matter, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're losing the speed battle, but surviving with the stone skin and become shipping at your first movement,
that was kind of the problem, because 1-turn stone skin, you're right, it was just, it was getting removed half the time, or it just wasn't working out. I want to talk about the fastest champion on my account. I don't want to talk about Kruysen per se, because this will apply to everybody regardless, right? So Kruysen is the fastest champion on my account. The problem is right now at 421 speed, I'm now losing most speed battles, right? So it doesn't matter if you're at 321 speed watching in, you know, Gold 4 or wherever you are, right? But like you're going to get to a point where you start to lose speed battles. So would you recommend, what would you do if you were me? Just basically like,
change that piece that's missing to Supersonic.
Yeah. So sacrifice a tiny, like 3 speed or whatever it would be, and change this to Supersonic so I can cut in line. So basically, I guess the easier answer that would apply to everybody is consider using the alternative methods that you already recommended. Look at Supersonic, look at temporal chains, look at other ways. I guess one blessing that I should probably ask you about is I have polymorph on my 6-star Krixia right now. So I could change this to temporal chains, right? That will help out immediately. Change that. I'll change the other one to Supersonic, and I'm sure things will change quite a bit for me. I want to talk about intimidating presence. Do you think, I mean, intimidating presence, if you have it at 6-star, if you have any champion with it at 6-star, a 35% boost and a 20% weaken, I feel like it's a lot more powerful than people give it credit for. You know, like the impact that can have if you're in a tight speed race, obviously it's huge. Yeah. So I wanted to ask how important it is to have a intimidating presence champion on any of your speed teams. Yeah.
When you're in the highest of the gold arena, most of the people have very close speed. Like there is a line between 460 that almost everybody in the top have. So 459, 461, it's very close. So the difference of the intimidate presence being there or not being there will make the difference between who is the first and who is the second. Just because of that blessing, and having a 1% more aura or 2% less aura make the difference. Yeah. Because everybody's so close in the same line of speed that this blessing makes a difference. So to having at least one champion, it doesn't need to be your lead. Your lead needs to be speed, but not this champion needs to be on intimidate presence. Anyone can be intimidate presence.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
That's make the difference.
Perfect. Lady Mikage, obviously a permanent fusion. More people have her than any other mythical. Maybe Carnage is creeping up, but whatever. She's amazing. What do you, if you have Mikage, I assume that most people should be using her. She's very, very good, right? Yeah. Do you use Mikage on your account? Do you have her build?
I love her.
For PvP, her. Yeah, okay.
For PvP.
Okay, making sure.
The same build.
Okay.
She's amazing.
Same build as you do for Hydra?
Yeah, exactly the same build.
Okay.
It is 4 pieces of Stone Skin and 4 pieces of Relentless. This champion
so you use that in Arena too?
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. Okay.
Because this champion on Relentless can break total your opponent. Imagine have a ally attack with increase attack and increase critical damage, then transforming and remove your opponent. Maybe have a
or stun him, whatever. Yeah.
Removing and stunning at the same in the same turn. Her in Relentless and Stone Skin, it's incredibly funny and good and effective. But if you can't do that, put her at least on 4 turns, 4 pieces of Stone Skin.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. 4-piece Stone Skin and fast with accuracy.
Fast and precise.
You mentioned Rotos earlier. I got to ask you about him, man. What is your favorite Rotos build right now?
Rotos is my favorite champion. Rotos is by far my favorite champion on my account because I don't have all the mythicals on my own account. On Doc Marois I got. I did not ever saw a Rotos stronger than mine.
Okay, we should be on your account, not my account. Now that it strikes me in the background, but okay. How do you build Rotos? I'm talking sets. I'm talking about stat focus.
Rotos has the most incredible chance of his life when he's using 9 pieces of merciless. I already got destroyed by a Rotos that had 12 turns in a row with 9 pieces of merciless. Yes. And there is a clip about it.
Dude, That's insane. And I think we've all been there, not like that much, but I think we mentioned this in the collab that we did on Drock's channel, but like we've all been on the other side of thinking that we won a battle and then Rotos is like, nope, boom, 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 boom. And you're like, crap. It happens a lot. So you like 9-piece merciless if you can get it. That's your favorite. And you don't mind making a big sacrifice to get there, I imagine?
Sacrifice your status, things like that, but have him on 9-piece of merciless if it is possible.
With Phantom Touch? I mean, with not Phantom Touch, but with the freaking bone armor? Yes.
Is the best, no doubt. For a matter of fact, yesterday, I was doing my live arena session on my account, and I faced a Doc.
No!
I faced a Doc, and I was, okay, I'm going to lose. He has everything I got. He has everything plus 4-6 star.
Yeah.
But I had a Rotos on my team, and my Rotos had 12 turns against him.
Oh my God. So
and I won against Doc because
so are you going, okay, so you're going to go 9-piece merciless. Are you going to go HP flat stat on your ring and attack percentage on your chest? What are you going to go for?
For Rotos is like the different build. You're going to have on Ascension from the top pieces, weapon, helmet, and shield. You're going to have HP, flat HP as Ascension.
Okay.
From the bottom pieces, you're gonna have critical damage for the glove, attack percentage for the chest, and the speed or attack percentage for the boots. For the ring and for the banner, you're gonna have HP ring and HP banner with attack percentage as the substatus, and use flat HP as Ascension on both. And the amulet's critical damage with critical damage.
Perfect. I love it. So basically, we're taking flat stat HP wherever we get flat stats, and anywhere where there's percentages available, we're going attack percentage to
because
scale off the stats.
HP is very bad.
Yes. Okay. Great.
If you do not have 9 merciless,
yes.
6 merciless is the second best.
Okay.
If you don't have 6 merciless, go for him in Stone Skin and Lethal. Many players don't like to do that, because they think Rotos is not easy to kill, but having Stone Skin on him, if you do not have 6 or 9 pieces of merciless, is very good. If you don't have it, go for Savage and Lethal, and if you don't have it, go for Relentless.
Okay, that's perfect. What do you... So you have, obviously, on your account, Taurus and Mariska, Siphi and Rotos, and King and Queen, and Narcissus. So do you run all, like, this is, I know this is a whale problem and a question. Sorry, I'm trying to make these questions as applicable to everybody, but this is something that I like, this is something that I deal with, and I'm sure people deal with different versions of this, right? Is that, okay, almost an embarrassment of riches. What do you do in a situation, like, do you have to just make choice, like, do you have them all geared out and spreading your best gear out, like, as best you can? Or do you just use your best gear and you make some tough decisions where I'm just not going to focus on using King and Queen on my account because I want to make sure I just bolster up these 2 combos? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Rotos and Taurus and Rotos and Ars do not share the same gear, so it's not a difficult choices. You're going to have different gears for both, but Taurus and Narcissus share the same gear. Over them, I prefer personally, that's a play styling, a play style choice. Taurus, yeah. But Narcissus can be really powerful. And if you have less empowerment, less blessing, I think Narcissus is more useful than Taurus.
Okay.
For general. But Taurus and Marishika, I think this is a better combo than Narcissus and Ancora. Unless you're facing each other. Narcissus and Ancora is a better combo to face Taurus and Marishika. But overall, Taurus and Mariska are stronger. Okay.
And you're using Taurus and Mariska, I assume, against like Marius teams or lockout teams that you don't think you'll win the battle. Like that's when you're using them the most?
Since we are leaving the speed meta, as I said, and Comidus right now is the strongest champion in the entire arena, this new mythical, Marishika became automatically the strongest counter pick to him.
Yep.
And to have Taurus and Marishika is always a good choice. Always a good choice.
That's why I feel like every round, like whenever I see Marishika drafted now in the last couple weeks, it's like crap because I know Comidus is coming next. You know. Now, we'll finish your thought on Taurus and Rishka and those conversations. So you're making a decision based on. So it sounds like on your account you have your best gear on Taurus, and you know you're basically picking like, okay, this is my.
For example, on Doc Morroy's account, I have a plus 4 6-star Taurus and a plus 2 6-star Narcissus. The best gear is on Taurus. On my account, my own account, I have a baseline Taurus and a baseline Narcissus. Both are 6-star, but the best gear is on Narcissus.
Okay.
Because I can use him more effectively than I can use Taurus.
Okay. So basically what you're trying to do is build an attack-based champion, a HP-based champion, a defense-based champion. Or we talked about this on the channel. I'm sure you talked about it with your viewers as well. But like having those, you're basically building the preset or optimizing your preset of the best that you have to offer in these areas. And then you're trying to take into consideration your blessings and everything, your empowerment, and then make the decision on who gets the top pieces based on that.
Yeah, you have to have a total view of your account.
Yep.
Let's see.
Because there's no one-size-fits-all answers, obviously.
Yeah, let's see what I got from attack nukers, what I got from defense nukers, what I got from HP nukers. What is the meta? I got a meta. If I got a meta, for sure I'm gonna use my best gear on the meta champion. If I don't have the meta, let's see what's the best gear I have fits most the champion kit.
Okay.
For example, I have a very strong savage gear with some rolls in accuracy. Is it that very good for Wukong? Let's have the best gear on Wukong. Let him be the best nuker on my account, and he's meta. Things like that. If you have I don't have that very good savage gear, but I have 9 pieces of merciless for Rotos. Let's put Rotos in 9 pieces of merciless, even losing some status. Put him on 9 pieces of merciless, abuse him. Pick UDK him to not be countered, abuse him. Marius, oh my god, you're showing him on the screen.
You mentioned him. Let's talk about him. He's clearly evolved, not evolved really, but like in short time, he's become one of the most meta and best champions in the entire game. What build would you recommend? What's your favorite build on Marius?
First of all,
every
five losses I got on Doc Morroy's account, 4 are because of Marius.
Every 5 losses, 4 because of Marius, if I was talking over you. That's crazy. Yeah.
That's how strong this champion is right now. At my opinion, he's a top 5 nukers in the game.
Is he your most banned outside of Armanz? Is he your most banned champion as well? Do you ban him a lot? If all your losses are attributable to him?
Against me, I prefer to ban him over Armanz.
Okay. So you're banning a lot of Marius.
Yeah, because this champion is troublesome. Even baseline, even without blessing, even without good gear, he's troublesome. How you should build him? The best build for him is 4 pieces of stone skin, 4 pieces of lethal. Is slightly faster than your second nuker, and with at least 300 accuracy for any kind of arena. At least 300 accuracy, because you want to land this debuff.
Yep.
You're gonna have 400 and
he's
half.
Gonna build. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good amount of accuracy.
He's so freaking good, man. He's so good. Yeah. Even the decreased duration, on the everything about him is just like every.
There's no counter to him.
Yeah.
There's no counter to him. The only counter to him is polymorph.
Very
Nothing
true.
Can stop this champion. Only polymorph.
Very true.
And with the same build, you're gonna use him on Hydra. He will be one of the best damage dealings on the game. You're gonna use him on every single dungeon in the game, almost every single dungeon, because he's so incredible. He's the top picker on Arena. He's the top pick on Hydra. He's a top pick on dungeons. He's basically perfect everywhere.
I love it, man. It's cool that we talked about 3 or 4 champions that are super good, super meta, some of the best champions in the game, and they're like not the mythicals, right? That being said, I wanted to ask you about a couple off meta champions, I would say. Pythion, I say off meta, I'm sure he's largely used still in the game, but I think that he's especially good now, mainly because of Comitus, whatever, but also just in general. tell me about Pythion. Do you like this champion? And do you see what I see in terms of building him high resist and cleansing? You know, like,
exactly.
Mithrala could probably be in a similar conversation, you know, just doesn't revive. But go on, sorry.
Yeah, before Comidus, you won't see him that much on the top tiers, but you would still see him a lot in the lower towers because he was a fusion and a very good fusion. He has a very good kit. But right now, because Comidus is the top pick of the entire game, Comidus is the strongest champion in Live Arena right now.
Yeah, I hate him.
And because of that...
Should he be an instant ban, by the way, for most players?
If you do not have high resistance or high speed, ban him. Otherwise, you're going to lose in 3 seconds.
And this is exactly why I'm mentioning Pythion, right? Because I didn't have that, so I'd always have to ban him. And when I'm always banning Comidus, I feel like I'm opening myself up to so many Armanz and whatever teams, you know, that normally I'm not ready for necessarily. So anyway, go on, though. You're the expert, not me.
Yeah, now that you have Comidus, and he's a blue affinity champion that needs to land the debuffs to work, having a red affinity Reviver or Cleanser and Pythion do both.
Yep.
It's very, very important.
Okay.
Build this champion with the highest survivability you can, with good amount of speed and the highest resistance you are capable of.
Is this? I don't think mine's gonna wow you or impress you too much, man. How well will I do with 810?
To be fair,
810 resist.
I think it's a good resistance to face Comidus.
Yep.
But you'll not be able to face some other champions. Yeah, Armanz and things like that.
But 810, if I run an aura too, if I run the aura, I feel like
he's got a
good shot.
An aura that's good.
Yeah.
That is 60 aura.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That can be enough. But if you can go higher, go higher.
Yes.
Because he's a good pick right now. He's a good pick. He will make your entire team tankier. He will make you maybe bring back your champions after Comidus destroy them.
Yep.
And
you're right.
Not lose instantly.
Yeah, and I said cleanse, not that it matters, but you're right. Just having the resist and the revive there is super important. But I did want to talk about bombers, man, and because when we were on that collab that I mentioned, you mentioned the first champion that you called out as being, I forgot how, basically very high on this guy, double S tier or something, was Gnishak Vermin Lord. Now, I love me some Gnishak. I don't use him personally in the arena, but I do use him against Bommel and various other areas, and I really love the guy. But you think, it sounded like, not to put words in your mouth, but it sounded like you think that he's underused in the arena right now.
Right now.
Talk about him, yeah.
Right now that we have Pinpoint. Comidus, when Comidus was launched, everybody saw Comidus and say, okay, it's going to be on the vault. But they, 1 week later or 2 weeks later, they launched Pinpoint. Or in the same week.
Yep.
And Comidus surprisingly became the strongest champion on Live Arena. This champion right here is the budget version of Comidus. He is the one that can put the bombs and detonate the bombs in the same turn. And his bomb has enough damage to kill the entire team. So Gnishak in Pinpoint and Stone Skin, Pinpoint and Pharaoh, Pinpoint and Perception, Pinpoint and something, but Pinpoint. 4 pieces of Pinpoint at least. It's gonna make magical things for you. If you have a Shuzen and a Gnishak, you're gonna win at least half of your fights using this strategy. Half of it. Go straight, build him on Pinpoint, use Shuzen to boost his attack and give him an extra turn, and half of your fights are gonna win in 2 seconds.
So true, and I'm so sick of losing to Comidus in 2 seconds, but you're right. I think maybe I need to start using some Gnishak, because you're right, like, having the 2 turn, but then decreasing the detonation with the extra turn makes it close to, like you said, a budget Comidus, and you're right, like, with the Pinpoint, just puts it all, it makes it all possible now for the first time, you know? And he's always been good, but just it's been tough to run a bomb champion, obviously, in Polymorphs. That's really, really cool, man. Any other favorites that we didn't talk about before I ask you for a general assessment of my account?
Because of, as I said in our collab, because of Comidus is so strong, having red affinity champions that can cleanse or revive over cleansing is really, really important. For example, Galatier, Pythion, and there are others.
Trying to think, who's another force cleanser? I know there's a bunch, but I'm just not. I'm not
Yeah,
thinking
just cleanser there are many, but to revive and cleanse there are not that much.
Yeah.
On my head
Okay.
right now, I'm for sure these two. I think the epic from the Doom Tower does have a revive and his red affinity. There are more that I don't record right now. That I
Okay.
don't remember.
Okay. Who the heck is the epic reviver from? Who's? I know
think it's
Ryan the
Dark
Conjurer,
Elves.
but
I think it's Dark Elves. Ryan.
right. Okay. Okay. Got you. Yeah. So no cleanse there, but she does have that. You're right with the revive. Okay. I want to ask you about my account, man. Ready? So what the heck? One thing we've already identified off air is that I just need to consolidate my gear so I have my best gear on a few champions rather than like, you know, a bunch of champions geared out, right? So that being said, you can see my roster. Obviously, a lot of mythicals, a lot of options here. I don't have Committus. I'm trying to think of other like super meta champions I don't have. And for the most part, I have other than the mythicals you see. I have like almost everybody. So what would you do if you were me? Like, who would you base a team around? You know,
if I had a 6-star plus 4 Alas, I would have.
He'd be on every.
Almost every fight. Man, I'm a huge fan of Alas.
Me too.
Incredible.
So I use him a ton. Would you, if you were me, what I have him in Stone Skin and Lethal right now. Obviously, I need to.
That's the best build.
Okay.
That's the best build.
Okay.
That's no doubt. That's the best build.
So this is a question in a more. Go ahead. Sorry.
Keep him this way. It's perfect.
In a more broad sense on Allies, this question could apply to anybody. Allies, like maybe if I had him, but not ascended, not empowered. But then I had somebody who was a little bit worse than Allies, right? And I had them like I don't know. I'm trying to say like I don't know, Mezamel or something, right? Okay. And I had her. Well, I guess I want to go defense based. Whatever. You get the point here. How much does when you're deciding who to really form your teams and your strategy around? How much does blessings and empowerment matter?
I wouldn't say it mattered that much as compared to see your opponent. I said to you, I love Alas. But if you're facing an opponent that you see he's building his team, doing his peak, and you don't think Alas gonna fit to win the battle, do not use him just because he's 6-star plus 4 or because you love him. Because he's probably not going to do well against some kind of champions, you know? If you see a Rotos in the other side, you can try to pick him because he's good affinity. Maybe he has a double hit that will kill Rotos and things like that. But if you see, for example,
Mezamel or something,
Siegfried, for example, that you know that you're not going to kill him in a single blow, and you're going to proc his passive. Do not try to pick him the same way you're gonna pick against the Rotos, for example. If you see a green affinity champion very powerful in the other side, that you have no defenses against, maybe you should use a blue Nuker instead of a red Nuker. Playing with the affinities right now is really important, even more if you're facing mythicals, because affinity is the first thing to destroy a mythical. Play the wrong affinity against a mythical is really good. Okay. Really, really good.
Okay,
because
so affinities are huge.
Yeah, huge.
Okay. Okay, so you said Alas. Obviously, I have Harima as well. I love to pair them together because he has the increased defense. And Harima is amazing. But they're using the same gear, you know, for the most part, in terms of defense-based, you know, ignore defense gear. Obviously, I need to certainly improve a bit on my Harima build. But that being said, if you were me, would you kind of try to build a Harima, Alas, kind of like, because what I'm trying to think about is like maybe I build clusters of main groups that I kind of comboed based on whoever my opponent picks.
Yeah, for example,
the
strategy I use the most is build one of each focused status best champion. For example, you have a really good shield on Savage, but you already built your Alas as a defense nuker. So use this best shield you have to a blue affinity nuker, or a red or a green affinity nuker, or a void affinity nuker, on other color than the Alas, or another source of damage like HP or attack, to have more options on your team with the great gear you have. Then you go for the second option. If you have Harima and Alas right now on this meta, Harima is incredible. Don't think I'm not saying she's not good. She's one of my favorite champions, but Alas is better.
Yep.
Alas is better. He has more utility, he's more dangerous in general.
So if you were me, then go.
Use your best gear on Alas. The second best gear after you build a HP based nuker, attack based nuker, you can use on Harima.
Okay. So with that being said, should I not be thinking so much about like, oh, Harima and Alas are a great combo, but also recognizing I'm probably stepping down to my 4th best gear set or 5th best gear set versus just going with what I think are the best.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Sometimes on Live Arena, you need to focus less on your team and more on your opponent team.
Okay.
So I like to play Alas and Harima. It's a great combo. Should I play them every battle? If you have more options, no. Watch your opponent. Think if that combo fits what your opponent's picking, then you make your picks. For example, you want to pick Alas and Harima, but you see on the other side, your opponent has 2 lockers, Armanz, and things like that. These 2 champions cannot do nothing if they are locked. Even Alas being a mythical, he's not a good mythical against skill locking.
Because others,
So, are you going to use both together? If you see your opponent is building a team like that, you're gonna probably lose. So, you're gonna turn around, maybe not picking them, picking other thing that fits most to counter your opponent. First of all, observe your opponent, then you're gonna make your choice. If your first pick, for sure you're gonna put your best, put your strategy in the way, but observe your opponent to make the countermeasures to win against him. That's very important. That's the first rule.
I love it, man. Thank you. Okay, who else would you go with for me? I won't make this too much more about me, but like, what would you? Again, for me, it just comes down to choices because especially with my gear not being quite as up to snuff as it should be. More farming needs to take place or whatever on the count. So I have to make tough choices where I don't have all my gear on everybody. So like, how would you go about this? Even if not every individual champion, like philosophically, how would you approach this?
Try to make combos. Like I said, Alas and Harima is a good combo. You're gonna play them every match? No, but have a second combo in mind. For example, UDK and Wukong is a great combo. The couple, Sif and Rotos, Narcissus and Ancora, Taras and Marishka are great combo. Shuzen and Nuker that can go through Stone Skin like Mazomel, Georgie, the bombers, Gnishak, they are really.
Do you like Gnishak
really
more than Gaius and Astrolith?
Astrolith, she can only focus one champion, so you're gonna need someone to spread. So it's a three-man team.
Yeah,
that's why Astrolith is out of the meta. You can use Shazar right now because he is another champion that can put the bombs and detonate the bombs. But Shazar has one thing that's really difficult. First of all, he's green affinity, and most of the meta champions are blue affinity. So that's a huge disadvantage for him. Second, for Shazar, you need accuracy, speed, attack, critical hate.
Yes.
And that's a lot of status to have at the same champion.
Yep. So
and his bombs are not as strong. Go Gnishak. It's better, way better.
At least he has that 32% speed aura, though, you know? Sify, I should have asked you about her earlier, but Sify, I had her in 9-piece protection, but the problem was she was dying, right? Like, that was the problem. So I flirted with the idea of like the fastest stone skin build I could get on her, and I didn't really like that too much either. So now I have her in kind of a, how do I have her? I have her in like a pretty fast supersonic. How do you like building Sify?
On Doc's account, I use her on as fast as I can in Swift Parry set and triple reaction. Because I already got a lot of champions in Stone Skin. So she's a versatile version of a support with a different build.
Interesting.
that can survive
Okay.
bombs and things like that. So it's another version because I have a lot of speed boosters and a lot of revivers. So let's make different versions of them, not using everybody in stone skin.
Okay, this is a good tip. This is a good tip. Yeah,
use a mix
because it applies to everybody, really. You know, you're gonna run
if you
out of
have
good
many
gear.
options. Yeah, do not put the same gear on everybody.
So get a little bit more unorthodox, and that's how you can beat guys like Doc Moreau, right? Using unorthodox strategies.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
on my account, I have her on stone skin because mine is not that fast as Doc's. But right now, we are living a speed meta. Sif is one of the fastest champions in the game, but she lacks one thing. Sif can only boost 10% of the turn meter compared to other speed boosters that we have on the meta, like Armanz, Arbiter, Kruysen, Lazarius, and things like that. So 10% is usually not enough to bring your Nuker to play after. You know, because you're not going to have a 400 speed Nuker. Never. At least not normal people like me and you. Some people have 400 speed Nukers. But there are insanely low amount of persons. So that's why Sifi, I don't like her to be the fastest champion on the team. Because her ability to bring the second person to play after her is not as great as the other speed boosters right now. So I prefer her tanky because her A1 is very powerful, her revive is very powerful, her A2 is very powerful outside the speed boosting. So I prefer her tanky than fast.
Okay, perfect. I like that idea. I might actually go the same route. Who on your account, as my final question for you, you've been so generous with your time. Thank you so much. Who do you use the most? You know, you mentioned some Wukong, you mentioned Rotos, but who are your, like, who do you maybe even use the most? I know it depends on your opponent, but who are your, like, absolute favorites? Like, yeah, like, people don't love these champions as much as I do. Like, they're really good.
On my account, I like a lot to play UDK on many battles on my own account.
Okay.
Because, as I said, I got a Nuker UDK. That's catch a lot of people off guard. On my account, Rotos is my strongest Nuker. So when I pick UDK, I take the opportunity of my opponent pick UDK against my Rotos. And I open the possibility of using my Rotos too at the same way. And there is one more combo that we use it to play Helicat and UDK to have that strategy of block damage and a lot of counterattacks. After Armanz, Helicat, after Armanz and Mythicals, Helicat dropped so much because every Mythical now can remove or debuff or lock skills or anything like that. That's very hard to use Helicat, but there is a Mythical called Alas that you got that do a perfect combo with a UDK in damage building gear. That Alas counterattack with block damage on the UDK.
And he just keeps...
My friend.
Okay, I like it. Yeah.
Just sit and wait for your UDK counterattack and kill your entire opponent team. And you're like that. Okay. Do your job.
You just wait. I like that. I love that idea. I want to build that for sure. Who else are your go-tos right now?
Most of the champions I use are around that strategy. I like a lot to use Warlord in Supersonic because I usually on my account I lose the speed battle. So if I can take away some champions that lock skills on my opponent and use Warlord to cut them with the Supersonic fast gear, and do not allow the Nukers to have a turn with their skills is very important for me. I try a lot to do that. There's a champion that I like a lot that's called Queen Eva. If you have the opportunity like a Kruysen, you take one of your opponent Nukers, let him with only one Nuker, and you have the Queen Eva's A2 to strike there and kill this champion. You might have a fast winning, or maybe Mazamel. I don't got Mazamel on my account, but that would be really good with Mazamel too.
Okay.
On Doc Marius, I use that a lot.
Using like a Kruysen to hand off to them?
Yeah. Kruysen if possible.
So
another
If you were me, then would you potentially reroute your best speed gear to Shuzen from Krixia and then try comboing with a Mezimel?
If you have her 6-star at least, I would.
On Shuzen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my problem. I only have, like, I have a totally naked Shuzen, no empowerment, no, I think I have like a 1-star blessing on her. I want to use her so badly because what do you do when you go against the Shuzen? When you just don't, what if you go against someone using one of those strategies against you? It sucks because sometimes these are the worst positions to be in when I'm like, I don't want to have to ban a Shuzen. It feels like a waste of a ban, but I do sometimes because when I don't, it's game over, you know? So
yeah,
like, how do you handle that? Yeah.
That's why having your champions on 1 turn stone skin is really important.
Yeah, okay.
If you lose the speed, there are some battles that I know that I'm gonna lose the speed battle because I got no boosters and my opponent has all the boosters.
Yep.
So I try to use champions that can play with locked skills because I know I'm gonna get locked. I try to ban the bomber or something if it happens. If it does not have bombers like Comidus or Gnishak or Lord Shazar and things like that, I try to ban the skill locker. So I know I'm gonna lose the speed battle, but is he going to go through my stone skin? Marius is something I ban a lot because he's one of the champions that can go through the stone skin and bring all your opponent team to go through your stone skin too, because he's going to remove everything. So sometimes I prefer to have my skills locked than let Marius remove all the stone skins.
that makes perfect sense. Okay, I think you've been super generous, man. I feel like I could talk to you clearly all day here. Talked about a lot of champions, but I still have like 100 I want to ask about. But hey, we'd love to have you back sometime, man. Thank you again for being so generous. And I'm sure all of you still watching are convinced to go ahead and check out, Kruysen's YouTube channel. I'll have that link for you guys. Thanks again, man. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, man. One thing more to say. It's all about Arena.
Indeed, man. On those wise words, we're gonna go ahead and end this video. Thank you for watching all the way till the end, and as always, take care, guys.